enter a name for it, and hit Create. And that pops up an editor page where I can select what pieces I'd like to include in my set list. So if you look at the left panel, there's a lot of the same ways to search and display pieces that are in your library. So you've got a search bar at the top. At the bottom, you can switch between viewing them in order of title, composer, or file name. And then I can click on the blue plus signs to add items to my set list. So I'll add a few of those. If I want to change the order of items in my set list, then I can use the grab handles at the right of each item in the right panel, the 3 horizontal lines, and just tap them, hold them down, and then drag the piece to where I want it to go in the set list, like so. Finally, if I want to remove items from my set list, I can just select them using the checkboxes on the left. And then hit the delete button at the bottom of the right panel. So let me try adding a few more pieces just to make my set list look a little more interesting. And then click Done in the top right corner to finish editing the set list. So now it's given me a window that shows my set lists with the name in the left, trying out set lists, and then the contents in the right panel. If I click the Edit button on the top right of the window, that just brings me back to the same editing page that I used to create the set list, and I can make changes from there. To actually view the contents of my set list, I can click the Start Set List button in the bottom of the left panel. So that takes me to a view of the scores in the set list. And if you'll notice, there are a couple of changes from the standard score view. If you look at the top toolbar, the title is shown there, and if I click on that title button, that gives me a way to jump to different pieces that are in the set list. So let's jump to the fourth piece here. And also notice in the top toolbar that I have left and right arrows, and those take me to the beginning of the previous or next piece in the set list, respectively. So if I want to jump to the beginning of the next piece in my set list, I will click the right arrow to do that. And then to go back to the previous list, hit the left arrow, or the previous piece in the set list. So that is how set lists work. Let's go back to the library page. And there's one more thing that I'd like to take a look at with set lists. So I'll click on the set list that I just created. And I notice it's got this arrow icon to the right of the Start Set List button over here on the left panel. So that gives me a few more options to manage my set lists. I can change the name or make a copy of the set list or just delete it entirely. So the last thing that I'll mention is how to get your own files in and out of Finale SongBook, how to import them in. And that process is basically covered in the documentation. You use iTunes, or you can also use email, and I believe Dropbox may be an option too. But what I'll do next is just go through these 3 documents that are listed at the top of the library, so that even if you don't have this app or you don't have an iPad, you can look at the manual and just get a sense of what features are available. So I'll open this first document, How to Open Files in Finale SongBook. So this is just going through the process of how to transfer the files using iTunes. This page mentions that Finale files can be transferred using Dropbox as well. And then this is describing how you import a Finale file that's in an email attachment. The next document, number 2, is how to use Finale SongBook. And this is describing how to navigate within the score and also how to use the playback controls. The last manual is how to create a songbook setlist. And this is going through the same process that we just did for creating and editing a setlist. Creating a new setlist and entering the title. Adding items to the setlist. Changing the order of items in the setlist. Deleting items from the setlist. And then opening up the scores in the setlist. And that's all I'll be covering in this quick tour video of Finale SongBook. Hope you find it helpful.